You should make the list. I want to see y'all list, whatever. Let's talk about this with my boy Carpe. We did top 5, and we was, scrounging up the top 10. So I actually sat down and did it. Here we go. Get right into it. Number 10, Lil Wayne. One of the most decorated careers in hip hop, man. Crazy, crazy career, man. Started off with the group Cash Money, which is probably my favorite version of Wayne. Cash Money broke up. He started his Young Money thing with the Carter series, and that instantly was an instant classic. I love the whole Carter series. A lot of people only like the first 2, maybe 3. I love all of them. One of the craziest mixtape runs in music history ever, which a lot of people start calling him the GOAT because of it. Not me, but number 10 is Lil Wayne. Can't deny the body of work, the lyricism, the punchlines, the personality, all that good stuff. You cannot deny Lil Wayne. Number 9, Scarface. Face Mob, man. Face of the South, man. OG, the legend. Man, I feel like Scarface is vastly, vastly underrated, man. But he is one of the all-time great storytellers. Really, 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 really underrated, man. Can't say that enough. It's Scarface. Love his collaborations with like your Tupacs, your Jay-Z's, his group, the Ghetto Boys. Mine's playing tricks on me. He got iconic songs. My Block, man. Scarface has really done it all. He's been around since the beginning of rap, it feels like. Man, number 9, super, super underrated. I'm going with Scarface, man. Let's go. Number 8, Killer. Killer. Hey, Cameron. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Because of some people qualifying to become rappers, this kind of shook up the list a little bit, because Cameron was a little bit high on my list, but then I did some homework and I was like, oh, okay, this person counts as a rapper, so they got to go up high on my list. You'll see who that is later on. Cameron, man, this is one of my favorite rappers of all time. One of the very, very, very fashionable, stylish, unique storytellers. I used to call him like a millennial version of Biggie Smalls. Crazy, crazy storytelling. You could tell he has a lot of experience in life, because the way he was uniquely telling these stories, you had to have gone through that stuff to be able to tell it. Ushered in the whole Pink era. One of the greatest music groups of all time, Dipset, that was his group. Man, I cannot say enough about Cameron. Shout out Killer Cam, man. That's number 8. Number 7, Snoop Doggy Dogg, SNOOPDOGC. Man, again, one of the most decorated careers in hip-hop. Now, my favorite version of Snoop Dogg is the Death Row Snoop Dogg, but I understand times change, people change, you got to grow up, you got to mature, can't be with that type of lifestyle all the time. But, man, Snoop Dogg was literally the first artist I ever heard that I can recall in life. The first album that I ever listened to in life was the Doggy Style album. My older sister left it laying around. Got a hold of it, was listening to it. I got in trouble once my mom seen it, because I was like maybe 5, 6 years old, had no business listening to that type of stuff. But yes, my first artist that I really fell in love with was Snoop Doggy Dogg. Death Row, man, he's just evolved. His music has changed over the years. He's been rapping since the early 90s. Can't say enough about Snoop. Number 6, Big Daddy Kane. Really inspirational to me, and probably your favorite rapper. You know what I'm saying? Depending on who it is. If your favorite rapper is a new school rapper, then probably not them, 'cause I don't know who inspires them. But if you look through your Tupacs, your Biggies, not your Biggies, that's more Rakim. Tupacs, Nas, Jay-Z's, etc., you have to look at Big Daddy Kane, man, and Rakim for that matter too. So obviously it was a coin flip between putting him and Rakim in this spot. But Rakim just had to get an honorable mention. Shout out Rakim, because he's like one of the legends, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people would pick Rakim over Big Daddy Kane. But again, this is my list. Nice storytelling abilities, keeping up with the Slick Ricks and the Rakims of the world and stuff like that. Big Daddy Kane was no slouch. Ushered in like a new era of music with the hip-hop, and then it just evolved into the 90s, and then it just, went to the moon from there. Nice solid body of work. Doesn't get the credit he deserves, I feel like, but if you pay attention, you'll see his style, his cadence, his rhyming patterns, his style of fashion, his style of looks. You'll see it all throughout the generations after Big Daddy Kane. So he definitely gets number 6 on my spot. Love his music. Listen to it now. Not a lot of hits, but a lot of nice quality music. You know what I'm saying? So that's number 10 through 6. And then coming up next is the top 5. So we're going to do it big for that. Number 5, man. And this is where the list gets personal, super personal. These top 5 rappers that I'm going to be dropping these videos for all played pivotal roles in my life. Number 5 is LL Cool J. Ladies love Cool James. Man, I cannot speak enough about LL Cool J, man. When I say he's one of the biggest influences of my life ever, I really mean that from the bottom of my heart in a genuine statement. From the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s, he's always been able to adapt his style. When it was the 80s, it was the classic vintage rap. When it was the 90s, it was more of a lover boy, and the 2000s was more of a lover boy, you know what I'm saying? Always kept it humble, always kept it classic, always kept it real, always a huge hit with the ladies. And when I seen that as a kid, I really wanted to be like that. A lot of his style and personality and stuff like that, I've incorporated into my style, personality, and things of that nature. And anybody that's known me for years know I used to call myself LL Cool Abe or LL, you know what I'm saying? So inspirations there. Music has been crazy from the Mama Said Knock You Out to the 90s with the doing it well, the Hey Lover, Hey Love, you know what I'm saying? Um, the 2000s with the Big Ellie, even though nobody was calling you Big Ellie. I don't know why he started that song off like that. Nobody was calling you that, bro. But yeah, Big Ellie, and one of my personal favorites, Something Like a Phenomenon, crazy classic. The hush baby won't let you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, he really was doing it for generations, you know what I'm saying? From the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s, man. I cannot speak enough about LL Cool J. I feel like he does kind of get the credit he deserves, but he only gets it once you bring him up. Like, if you don't say his name, nobody's gonna be like, yo, LL Cool J. Like, I'm probably might be the only person that's gonna say him. He's in the top 5, you know what I'm saying? But he's in my top 5. This is my list. So all around music, can't forget the TV show. Definitely had a TV show, funny as hell. Still does acting now. I forgot which one of those cop shows he's on. In Too Deep, one of my favorite movies of all time. Classic. You Ain't No Cop, Jay Reed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So LL Cool J, he's gonna start up the top 5. Man, I definitely even wanted to put him higher, but it's just heavy hitters from here on out. And this is the best I could do. Shout out LL Cool J, man. Number four, Nasir Jones. Nas, what up, man? Hey, it's gonna be tough to put into words like the kind of influence Nas had, bro. Nas, for the most part, has always been a positive, uplifting rapper. Obviously, he had his moments, the whole Jay-Z feud and your little, petty beefs here and there. But for the most part, he's been like the classic, uplifting, positive rapper. And I feel like we are so missing that right now. Lyrical ability was off the chart, still is, by the way. So when I speak in the past tense, I ain't trying to make it seem like he washed or nothing. Lyrical ability is off the charts, bro. Like, Illmatic, one of the greatest albums of all time. My personal favorite from Nas is Stillmatic, but Illmatic is a classic. Stillmatic, for me, I might listen to You're the Man, which is my favorite Nas song. I might listen to that song every day. I think I've been listening to that song almost every day since the album came out. I'm not even gonna hold you. You know what I'm saying? Nasir Jones, man. Now, Nas, he gets a lot of credit, but I still feel like he's underrated, man. I feel like he does not get the credit he deserves. I feel like he should be in the GOAT conversations, even though he's not for the most part. He definitely deserves to be. And he is number 4 on my list. But again, like I said about in the previous video, all these are heavy hitters. Like, these are like the creme de la creme of rappers. These are like, you know what I'm saying? So everybody in my top 5 could have easily been number 1, but I had to make an order, and it just shook out that Nas was number 4. Even though I even felt disrespectful because I'm like, I think he deserves to be top 3, but my top 3 is just, it's just crazy, and my top 5 is crazy. But so somebody had to sacrifice a spot, and for me it was Nas. Might be somebody different for you. For me it was Nas. But yeah, shout out Nasir Jones, man. Crazy, 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 crazy time. Number 3, Kanye West. And man, what a run. What a career. I can make a case, even against myself, because y'all know this is not my favorite rapper. And yes, he is qualified as a rapper. I did my due diligence, did my homework. He is officially classified as a rapper, whether y'all think he does pop music, et cetera, all that, whatever. You look him up, it says American rapper. With that being said, this might be the greatest career in music history. As far as rap goes, obviously you got your Michael Jacksons and all those other people, your Beatles and other genres. But as far as rap goes, this might be the most prolific career in the history of rap. Man, what a run. A lot of people say Kanye fell off out of those first 4 albums. Me personally, I feel like he never fell off. I feel like he just evolved. And once you're used to a certain style of music, when somebody changes and it doesn't you don't quite like it, or it doesn't quite fit your mentality or at the time or something, you kind of like tend to not like it and then say the person falls off. However, I feel like he's always evolved. I feel like his last album, which I believe was Donda, officially, is just as good as one of the first 4 albums. I feel like Donda might be top 5, number 6 if anything, or maybe number 7, because the Doc Twisted Fantasy Zone was classic. Obviously, Watch the Throne was super classic. You have your Pablos and things like that. 808 Heartbreaks, man. He just has classic after classic after classic. Wild style, different style, and we haven't even gotten to the production side of things. Production is up there with the Dr. Dre's and the Swiss Beats and the Pharrells. Music is up there with the greatest of all time. He had a run. My favorite Kanye song is Heard Him Say. I believe that's on Late Registration. I think, yeah, not on Graduation. Late Registration. Graduation has one of my favorite songs called Bittersweet too. Crazy, crazy run. Kanye is number 3. A lot of people might give me flack because I put him over Nas, but to me, he was more impactful, just a little bit more than Nas, and had to slide him into my top 3. I could make a case he could be number 1. Like I said in the previous videos, everybody in my top 5 could easily be number 1. I could make a case for him. If you got to this point in the video, you pretty much know who my top 2 is. If you know me, you know who the top 2 is or whatever. You might have them out of order, but you know who the last 2 is if you know me. And if you don't, stay tuned. But yeah, Kanye West is definitely number 3. Number two. And I know, if you know me, I know a lot of people think this is number 1 on my list, but he's number 2. Jay-Z, Sean Carter. Story career, man. Probably the best overall resume in rap. Man, most number 1 albums by a solo artist. Most number 1 albums in history, only trailing the Beatles. But if you know the Beatles, you know they had an amazing, amazing, crazy run. Nothing you can say about them. Somebody is going to break that record, especially with how nowadays you can kind of manipulate the number 1 albums. It's not based on like pure sales or you outselling everybody. It's a lot of things that go into it. But anyways, I'm not taking no credit away from it. Number one album in my book. But yeah, this was a lot of this was done in the era of extreme hip hop competition. These were number 1 albums with DMX on the prowl and Notorious B.I.G. and Nas, your Big Puns and your Ludacris's and your T.I.'s, and it was so, your Nelly's, Eminem's. It's so many competitors that he was going up against, and they were dropping music in the same area of time. It wasn't no, I'll wait 3 months until he, it wasn't that. They were dropping it literally at the same time and stuff. So yeah, that's a thing. First rapper to ever be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, which is crazy. To me, he probably is one of the greatest writers, even though he says he doesn't write. So I don't know how you would classify that, but definitely deserves to be in that. First rapper to ever be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Y'all know that's crazy in itself. Just listen to that. Say that out loud and just be like, wow, that's crazy. Received the first rapper to receive Dr. Dre's Global Impact Award, which is a Grammy. He has 24, 25 Grammys. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's one of those. And then I can't believe we got this spot down the list, and he's married to Beyonce. I mean, bro, he's been like a super influence on my life as well. I gave the nod to LL Cool J for that earlier, and he's also one of those ones. Anybody knows me knows I've been signed to Rockefeller since '99. You know what I'm saying? Once Death Row kind of imploded within, Suge Knight getting, locked up, back and forth in jail, Snoop Dogg leaving, Pac getting killed, Dr. Dre leaving, et cetera, et cetera. I was looking for a home, you know what I'm saying? And seen Jay, seen what he was doing with your Memphis Bleak, your Mill, your Beanie Siegel at the time, Dame Dash, and I wanted them, man. I wanted them. You know what I'm saying? They was gracious enough to allow me to sign, and then we kind of just been Rockefeller, ever since or whatever. So it's crazy to see like your favorite become one of the greatest. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people do hate on them and stuff like that, but I don't really care about that type of stuff. At the end of the day, it's all opinionated. But yeah, just songs, man. Every album he dropped was a number one album except for his debut. I believe Reasonable Doubt wasn't a number one album, which makes sense because Reasonable Doubt came out at a time where Tupac was just running rampant. As two different people. Tupac is number one on the charts as himself, and then he's number one on the charts as Machiavelli. So not too much you could do getting the number one album when you got a menace like that running around on the charts. He's just dropping so much music. And Reasonable Doubt is arguably his best album. I mean, to me, it's Blueprint, but a lot of people think that Reasonable Doubt, even he thinks that Reasonable Doubt is his best project, and it has aged like fine wine. If you haven't heard that in a while, go listen to it. But yeah, man, Jay-Z's number 2 on this list. One of the most influential rappers, man. Your Song Cries, your Big Pimpins, the freestyles, the beef with Nas, which a lot of people thought he would lose. A lot of people did think he lost, but no matter how you view it, you have to respect him because he did hold his own, whether people like to admit it or not. He did hold his own, and he did go on to have the more stellar career afterwards, which should indicate. But that's another argument for another day or whatever. But yeah, number 2, Jay-Z, man, Sean Corey Carter. Let's get it. Number one, man. Here we go. Tupac Amaru Shakur. Man, what a talent this guy was. Numbers really don't reflect. It really doesn't do him justice, I guess. Just how quick his run was. Has 5 number one albums, and I know you're going to be like, oh well, most artists got 5. What rappers don't? Well, a lot of premium rappers have 5 number one albums and stuff. So I gotta do my homework to try to make him stand out over some of these other artists because that's a lot of people do have a lot of number one albums, especially nowadays. But this is how I'm gonna break it down. His 5. This is how I'm gonna prop his 5 up. First and foremost, Tupac was the first rapper to ever have 2 number one albums in 1 year, and now you're seeing it more frequently. But he was the pioneer that dropped 2 in 1 year, and they both have to top the charts. Again, with much more stiffer competition in that era than I feel like in this era. But apples, oranges, or whatever the cliche is. That's the first thing. Also, of his 5 number one albums, he only got 2 of them when he was alive. 2. That is crazy to me. He had 3 number one albums after passing away. And I know people are going to probably be like, well, when you die, your sales boost and all of that. So, again, dug up a little cool tidbit that I'm going to share with y'all in case y'all didn't know. Y'all know I do my homework on this type of stuff, so I like studying. I like finding out these fun facts and all that. Tupac's last number one album came in 2004. Tupac passed away in 1996. That is 8 years after he passed away. Whatever hype you had is long gone. Whatever like foundation, the record label, the money, and all of that stuff is long gone. I want y'all to think how music changes every 10 years. This is 2024. Think about how different music was in 2014 and then in 2004, and then in 1994. Think about how different rap was each of those years, right? He left behind so much timeless music that his holdover stuff, which was recorded in 1994 to 1995, was still going number one in 2004. That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, I think I can go on the limb and say he's probably the only musician across any genre. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. I know y'all like to do that type of shit on here. Um, that had just as good as a career after death than he had when he was alive. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. But anyways, super influential man, actor. Poetic Justice, one of my favorite movies. Juice, one of my favorite movies. Work ethic was just unbelievable, bro. I tried to pick that up as much as I could. Work ethic was just crazy. Like he like robot, bro. Robotic, bro. Like just unbelievable. um Always had a song for whatever kind of mood you was in. My style of Tupac was more of those laid back melodic, loving songs. Like my favorite song is Unconditional Love. I Ain't Mad at You, the clean version. The clean version is more of a melodic R&B, hip hop type of song. Album version is more of a rap song. You know what I'm saying? You Keep Your Head Up. Your Brenda's Got a Babies. Now don't get me wrong, I get down with the California Love and all that other stuff too. But yeah, the Me Against the Worlds and all that type of stuff. That's what I was there for with Pac. You know what I'm saying? I had some tough times in my life. We all do. And his music definitely helped like pull you through those dark times, man. He really had a way with words, especially over a certain type of beat. He really helped to give you hope. Even though you was living in like a hopeless world, a hopeless life, he really helped to give you hope. Means so much to me, man. Um, Kind of feel like he'll always be number one on my list. Things could change over time, but the impact that he had as far as like emotionally over me, I don't feel like nobody's ever gonna. I don't think music is capable of that no more. So I think this is pretty much set in stone. But yeah, number one, forever and always, man. Tupac, dog. Let's get it. And that has been my top 10 favorite rappers of all time.